I am a native Washingtonian. I live in Ward 8, and I'm just happy to be in the community and able to share. I am a doctor of lithology. I teach cellular ecology, and I'm a preventive medicine doctor. And my main focus is to support our people, my community, with letting go of the dark ages of healthcare, letting go of disease thinking. I believe it's time for us to emancipate ourselves from medical mental slavery. We need to stop addressing diseases and saying that we have a disease, because what we have is what been told by everybody on the panel. We have cellular malfunctions because we decided not to think the right thoughts and not to feed our bodies the right food. So if we can, as a community, as a whole, say no to disease thinking and disease care, I think that we will go a long way. So my purpose and my mission is to support people with letting go of that and getting more into conscious health care. And that's what I teach into the community. My mind is just racing. So many places with all the information you've heard, it's kind of hard to keep on track. And actually this morning what I did was, I actually flooded my basement. I was supposed to be here at 1 o'clock, but I hit a valve and I flooded the basement. I had so much to do. And my mind is scattered, so I came prepared. I brought my book. So I'm going to share a couple of poems. I'm just going to make a brief statement as to where I think that we need to look at and how we need to deal with health care. Health is a natural result of just simply being. We are so busy doing, trying to find and learn and catch up, that we are not just being still to be who we are. But that's what health really is. Just as health is grounded in being, this essence of who we are is itself grounded in a universal oneness, what Baba was just talking about earlier. One self is the oneness. This one self is the divine essence of the existence of that people often referred to as God. It is our true being, the divine love that birthed the universe. As the source of everything that exists, and as the heart and core of our individual being, this one self knows nothing but well-being. And it's time for us to know just that we are in our well-being. As the source of everything that exists, and as the heart and core of our individual being, this one self knows nothing but well-being. This is because, as oneness, there is no fracturing within the source. Rather, it is whole and holy, totally complete. This wholeness of the universe, oneness in which we are all grounded, is the source of health. Hence, to be healed means to be made whole. To be made whole, which is to experience reconnection with our multidimensionality and interconnectedness. We think separate. The world teaches us to separate. Even our systems of our bodies, what we do, we're separate, so therefore we cannot believe in the one self, our source. And that's my purpose, is for us to find and come back to our one self. Health is to have knowingness of our one self, to experience ourselves as a manifestation of the whole. In contrast, to be unhealthy is to experience ourselves as disconnected and separate from the whole. Just as health is a process of being, disease is also a process, as obvious when we examine the word disease. It is a condition of uneasiness which creates an imbalance in the body. Disease is a state in which there is no longer an easiness about us, no longer an unimpeded flow of energy, no longer a suppleness to ourselves. Disease is an imbalance, inharmonious balance within our mind and body, which is brought on by error thinking. It's what we're thinking, it's what we were told to believe, that you have a disease, and you name it and you claim it and you say it's mine. My disease, my high blood pressure, my this, my that. And that's what you get. If we let go of diseases once again and say it's a cellular malfunction, then you know it's something that you must correct because you did. That's why it's called self-care and self-responsibility. As the Bible said, we're here to educate you. We are not your healers. We do not fix you. You fix yourself. We tell you what you need to do, and then you decide not to do it simply because it's not fashionable. It's not what everybody is doing. It's time for us to take responsibility for our own health, and it starts with what we think in consciousness and what we've been told. Whenever we find ourselves diseased, it means we are doing something to create an energy blockage. Our energy has been diverted from its natural flow, and consequently, the balance within the whole has been lost. Disease is the result of an energy block caused by experiences we haven't fully worked through, allowed ourselves to feel, and really accept. In contrast, healing is the result of an aware detachment from these past experiences that have created energy blockages within us. Everything with which we don't experience completely, everything isn't integrated into our life and fully digested for what is intended to teach us, will repeat itself until at last allow ourselves to experience it in its fullness. So if we keep thinking that we have diseases, that we need something outside of us to correct it, how is it going to get corrected? Because it's not from the without, it's from the within. It's from within us. You have the power to correct anything that you've done through the way that you're thinking about it. And we've already been told it's definitely how we feed our bodies, this physical temple. These incomplete and undigested experiences haunt us, following us everywhere we go, reoccurring over and over in different forms until we embrace them fully. This is because our mind projects every unfinished experience onto the world around us. You go to a practitioner and you say, I have a headache, and we tell you it's probably due to a form of toxicity, the way you're thinking, and you go back and you start thinking a little positive thoughts and doing a little bit of positive things, and then it changes. And then you come back next week and you say, well, I have my side hurt, my back hurt. So you just keep coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back because you're not taking responsibility for what you need to do and what's going on in your thinking. And this is what we need to start doing, setting back, being still, being and looking to what we're doing to our own selves. And then we'll go out to either the allopathic field or to the alternative field, and we say, fix us. We cannot fix you. You have to fix yourself, and it starts with how you're thinking. It's an error thought to think disease care. We are healthy. We were born healthy. We came into this world healthy, and through the egoic mind, through the mind that was put in us by our parents, by politics, by religion, by whatever means, we formed that mindset, and then we kept it and we held on to it. And it kept us separate from who we are, the greatness within us. And that's what we need to get back to, the greatness within us, and stop separating and departmentalizing ourselves. When so many unfinished situations hang in our unconsciousness, stored in memory, it's no wonder many of us are alienated, afraid, angry, in pain, and sick. We are like sleepwalkers, going through life oblivious of our real state. We carry a mound of tension throughout our being, but we are unaware of it. To restore the flow of consciousness is to free up our blocked energies and thereby restore health. In other words, health rises whenever we remove our disease thinking, the error thought that we have something. Only when we bring awareness to an unfinished experience and accept it unconditionally can it be completed. In the light of our awareness, the tension is regenerates, will evaporate, and we will become healthy. Bringing awareness to an unfinished experience is fundamentally different from what society calls positive thinking or having a positive attitude. Consciousness isn't a matter of positive thought versus negative thoughts, because there is nothing either positive or negative in consciousness. It bees, it knows nothing but the goodness of what it is. The world teaches duality to keep you separate from who you are, for you not to believe innately what you feel and know. We innately know what to do, we feel what to do, but we challenge ourselves and we say no because of what we was taught, because of what's fashionable. We have to go to the opposite side of that. That is what I'm saying. We need to be aware of positive thinking versus negative thinking, because to attempt to think positively is merely to force anything we consider negative into the background, which doesn't dissipate with it at all. Instead, it becomes part of our unconscious, which means it will find some way of expressing itself in a destructive manner. Again, we go from one disease to another. You can't even stomp your toe without them telling you need to go get a pill to correct it. And a lot of us are buying into that. We need to think a different way. Unconsciousness is far more powerful than any positive thinking. So-called positive thoughts are merely what are left when we suppress so-called negative thoughts. In both cases, the egoic mind is in control and not consciousness. And that mindset is all about what is learned. And we are so separate from the divineness of who we are that we believe that in order for us to be associated with the oneness, that we have to leave. The oneness, as the Bible was talking about earlier, is always there and stays there. And we are separate from that. We cannot separate ourselves from what we are. We are the manifested being of that pure source. So it cannot leave us. We think that it's gone because we don't want to really do the work. That's what I'm talking about. We need to do the work. The egoic mind, once useful in our evolution, now acts against us. However, we are not our egoic mind, which was imparted to us by our families, religion, politicians, and society in general. By dropping our attachment to the egoic mind and its thoughts, whether positive or negative, we become conscious. Then wherever we are and whatever we do is simply a blissful experience of being. The mind functions as it ought to, and as a no mind, as space for oneself to become the force and express itself as true consciousness. So again, the better way for me to say this is, I think I put this book out in 2008. It's self-published. Stepping up out of the dark ages of healthcare, reaching a greater level of wellness. Step up now. You see, I wanted to write a poem about stepping up out of the dark ages of healthcare, but my mind could not think how to let the words rhymes or the lyrics flow. The human body fluids needs to move like the oceans of the world, fluidity, flowing, free of stagnation, blockages, and lack of quality oxygen. The human mind needs to reach its greatest heights and think like an eagle and realize the dream. You see, I wanted to write a poem about stepping up out of the dark ages of healthcare, or really is it just disease care or disease care? Nevertheless, community, I'm saying, wake up everybody, time to think a new way. We talk about no more backwards thinking, time for thinking ahead. I say, wake up, all the doctors, allopathic and alternative too. Wake up, it's time to practice a new way. And that practice is what I'm talking about by, I feel that we should not address disease thinking or a disease. When you come to us, we need to tell you that there's a cellular malfunction because you're not thinking right and you're not eating right. And the only person that's going to correct that is you by changing your thoughts and changing your eating. There isn't a safe drug in America. There isn't a safe drug on this planet. The drugs are not kind, nor kin, nor will they help this body. It will eventually tear it down. One moment you'll feel well, and the next moment you'll be sick again. And the next time it's going to be worse. We must leave the drugs alone. Yes, acute situations. You didn't know what you were doing. You rush to the hospital. They give you something. You take it. You come out and you do what? You change everything. And you get off the medication. You don't stay on it. We got people that's been on medication, managing themselves over 50 years. And we should learn from that. We should know that it's not doing any good for us, but we still keep thinking diseases. And we eat well, and we do well, and we do alternative things, and then something happens, and we ourselves, some of us, go to the medical establishment for help.